is going to be about sleep, basically, and its effects on your mental health and your sleep effects on training and stuff like that as well. Let's kind of go through this article together. We'll see what it says. We're looking at National Heart, Lung and Blood Institute. I think if there's anywhere to get some information from, this might be a good one. There's also some bits on the NHS, which we can look at as well, because the website for the NHS is actually quite good because it's quite like easy to follow. Um, so basically, how do I know if I'm not getting enough sleep? Sleep deficiencies can cause you to feel very tired during the day. You may not feel refreshed or alert when you wake up. Sleep deficiency also can interfere with work, school, driving, and social function. How sleepy you feel during the day can help you figure out your symptoms. So you might be sleep deficient if you often feel like you could doze off while sitting, reading, watching telly. Guilty. Sitting still in a public place, such as a movie theater, meeting, or classroom. Guilty. Riding in a car for an hour without stopping. I don't know if I will. I don't know if I'll end up in prison for saying this. Gonna carry on. Sitting or. But guilty. Sitting and talking to someone, yeah, depends how interesting they are, I suppose. Sitting quietly after lunch and sitting in traffic for a few minutes. Like these things can make you quite sleepy. If you have problems learning, focusing, or reacting, or making decisions, solving problems, remembering things, managing your emotions and behaviors, coping and changing, you may take longer to finish tasks. So being sleep deprived just affects everything. So sleep and your health. The way you feel when you're awake depends in part on what happens while you're sleeping. During sleep, your body is working to support healthy brain function and support physical health. In children and teens, sleep also helps support growth and development. The damage from sleep deficiencies can happen in such an instant, not like a car crash. Sorry, can happen in an instant, such as a car crash, or it can harm you over time. For example, ongoing sleep deficiency can raise your risks of some chronic health problems. It can also affect how well you think, react, work, learn, and get along with others. Mental health benefits. So, this is the main bit that I want to kind of talk about. Sleep helps your brain work properly. While you're sleeping, your brain is getting ready for the next day. It's forming new pathways and helping you learn and remember information. Studies show that a good night's sleep improves learning and problem solving skills. Sleep also helps you pay attention, make decisions, and be creative. So, like, if you are trying to be productive, sleep's going to be one of the biggest things to help you with that. Studies have also shown that sleep deficiency changes activity in some parts of the brain. If you're sleep deficient, you have trouble making decisions, solving problems, controlling your emotions. So like that's the big one for me, is the like controlling your emotions. So I know for a fact, like, if I am tired, I'm just way more emotional, and that normally comes down to just like I'm just fatigued. Like the only problem with streaming on a Sunday night, but I'm kind of actually really loving it, especially tonight, is that I kind of finish this and I'm just wired, so I need to like settle down. So I'm going to have a sleep routine. I'll talk a little bit about my sleep routine because then we can break this segment up a little bit. And I'll put this on my head so you can see my eyes. But my sleep routine is blue light blocking glasses after a certain time when I'm staring at screens. But it's also having a chamomile tea. I normally would have one while I stream, to help settle me down. And my Lumi lamp's the only lamp I go by while I read. So I read as I go to sleep because that helps me settle down. Try and put my phone away. The one interesting thing is sleep can affect your mental health, but your mental health could affect your sleep because you're going to be grabbing, like, you might be using your phone or screens as a distraction because it can be quite difficult for you to kind of settle down. So I have found soundscapes seem to help me quite a lot, but reading is the other one. So like my brain's focused on reading. Some soundscape or like some like just kind of like frequency noise to help me sleep does seem to help me settle off and settle down and kind of doze off a little bit if I'm like really hyper or active and focused on stuff. Just like that winding down bit and just making sure everything's ready to go, I think is really important. Like sleep deficiency in this has also been linked to depression, suicide, and risk taking behavior. Um, I can definitely see it. I just think that we don't think properly when we're sleep deprived. I know, like, I want to say in prisoner of war camps, they use sleep deprivation because as a way to break people because it works, and having little sleep is going to mess with you more than anything. It doesn't really go into much more on that article, so let's go into the NHS want to see what it says. So understand the sleep problems called insomnia. What does it mean, insomnia? So how many hours sleep do I actually need? So it can affect all of these different things. So how many hours of sleep do I actually need? A healthy adult usually needs around 7 to 9 hours sleep. However, age, health, personal circumstances can affect how much sleep you get or need. Plus, some people naturally sleep more than others. Teenagers and children, sleep 8 to 16 hours. So signs and symptoms of sleep problems. Maybe you find it difficult to fall asleep. You lie awake for long periods of time at night. And this is why like having a sleep and having like a wind down routine is really important. Also having periods of time within like or having the same sleep and wake cycle is also going to really help you when it comes to sleeping well and getting better at sleeping. So like having the same time you go to bed or roughly same time you wake up gets your circadian rhythm and gets everything in check, which means your body knows when to wake up. Like I got to bed at like 1 a.m. last night because the boys were doing the ultra marathon and I was supporting them do that. So I hardly got to sleep at 2 o'clock by the time everything finished. And I still woke up at like 7 this morning because this is just my natural body's wake time. But that means that normally I'd be in bed by 9:30, 9 o'clock. So it's kind of like my body's knows when to wake up. You wake up several times during the night, you wake up early or unable to get back to sleep. So waking up several times for the night. So lying awake for long periods, like let's actually go through these because signs and symptoms of sleep problems. And let's go through some solutions for it. So if you find it difficult to fall asleep, then a solution for you could be having all of the things that I've said previously. So blue light blocking glasses if you are on screens, but trying to get screens away from you 1 to 2 hours before you go to bed. This is where reading comes in really well because you can read before you go to sleep and you're not looking at your phone, you've just got a book in front of you. I use a Lumi lamp, which means that the light itself can be a dimmer light, almost like an orangey light, which kind of brings, same thing, I don't have the blue lights going on. And it also has a sunset setting, which means it gets darker over like a half-hour period. Simply having that set up means that I may find it easier, and having a soundscape on if I need one, I may find it easier to fall asleep. Lying awake for long periods at night, that normally to me is stress and anxiety. You're probably highly stressed or you're highly anxious, and there's something that you are thinking about or overthinking. And if that is you, then I would get you to just write everything down. So write down what you're thinking about, like kind of use ChatGPT for therapy, like go downstairs, like kind of maybe find a different environment to sleep in may help. But like if you're staying awake for long periods of time, that could be why. Could also be your caffeine intake. So you maybe increase your caffeine intake or had caffeine too late within the day. Could be like you have caffeine. To me, if I'm having caffeine past 3, I know it's a problem. So like I've kind of worked that out through trial and error. Some people it's way later. Like I know people at the gym can have a caffeinated drink at like 6 p.m. and not feel it. I know for me, past 3 p.m., I am awake all night. I know some people middays are cut off. So like find out what yours are, but caffeine could be also keeping you awake for long periods of time at night. If you wake up several times during the night, something that could help that is identifying why you're waking up. A lot of people wake up because they go to the toilet quite often throughout the night. You could be go to the toilet because you have a dry mouth, and your dry mouth is making you drink loads of water, which is making you need to go to the toilet. The thing that which could be causing your dry mouth is your inability to breathe through your nose, which means you have to breathe through your mouth. So I would get you to wear a nose strip. So I wear a nose strip every time I sleep. If you just do this with your nose, you'll be able to breathe a lot clearer. If I just breathe now, but then I do this, it's way, way clearer. Most of you will probably be able to do that, but that might mean a nose strip can help you because then it opens up your airways, and it means that you can actually get air in. It means you breathe through your nose while you sleep, which means you don't get a dry mouth, which means you don't drink water, which means you don't need to get up throughout the night to have a pee. Ta-da! If you wake up early and unable to get back to sleep, pass. Don't know. Pass. Feel down or have a low mood. So this could be signs of problems, signs of sleep problems. Similar thing as I said earlier, your mental health can affect your sleep, but your sleep can affect your mental health. So trying to set your environment up in a way which means you can wind down and can really put some effort and focus into finding a right sleep pattern could be really beneficial for you. If you have difficulty concentrating, again, that's probably due to sleep, or you're more irritable than usual, that could be due to sleep. Longer term sleep problems can affect your relationship, social life, and leave us feeling tired all of the time, eating more, and unable to do daily tasks. Something I think we all dealt with. There are many reasons why we might not sleep well. Some people are naturally light sleepers, or it takes longer to get to sleep, while others may sleep badly because of anxiety, worry, or stressful events or other life changes. There are lots of things that can influence how well we sleep, such as our current physical and mental health, our upbringing, or what happens to us. However, bad sleep habits like or poor sleep hygiene, such as not relaxing or winding down behavior before bed, can cause sleep problems. Effects on aging. As mentioned, when people get older, they tend to sleep less deeply, and they may also sleep less well at night. Sometimes people will tend to often drop off during the day, which then reduces their need for sleep at night. In itself, it's not a problem, but often not sleeping at night becomes a great cause for worry, frustration, or concern. Medical reasons disrupt your sleep. If you need to go to the toilet at night, this could uh, about 60 to 70% of men aged over 65 get out of bed at least once a night. So not even just as you get older, but for a lot of people, again, it could be for what I said. If you're drinking a lot of water before you go to bed, it may be that reason. Many women reports disturbed sleep around menopause, hot flushes and things like that. I know like body temperature in general is actually a really important one for sleep. Like you want to be cool. A tip that I saw ages ago, which was having your legs and arms out, but having your body covered, can regulate your temperature really well. But just making sure you got the right quilt on would be really good. Another common medical reason for poor sleep is pain. So if you're in pain, yep. Other health problems can also affect it, like breathing conditions, yep. Some medicines affect with it. Depression and low mood can affect sleep. Disturbed sleep is common symptoms of depression. It is usual for a depressed person to wake up early in the morning and unable to get back to sleep. Alternatively, have difficulty getting off sleep. So I suppose if I look back to any times that I've woke up super early, because I have quite a lot, I've gone to bed late and woke up super early over this year. It is all circumstantial problems that are affecting my mood, which make me wake up, and it's the only thing I can think about. Um, and obviously the things I'm waking up and thinking about link back to my own self-talk about myself. So like this is why I'm such a big fan of like self-awareness and identifying what it is, because if I can identify the thing that's bothering me, I can then actually put some stops in place to change that. So I definitely have had that as I've gone through periods where had a low mood and things like that. Stress, worry, anxiety. When some are stressed and anxious, they may often find it hard to get off to sleep and their mind's worried. Any bereavements, obviously any emotional upset can obviously be a thing. And then sleeping arrangements. So if your bed room is over hot or over cold, a bed that is too hard or too soft. So like all of these things and disturbed sleep routine. So overcoming your sleep problem. This is cool. So they have like different problems and then different solutions. This is quite a cool thing to know. Worrying about not getting enough sleep. Are you expecting too much sleep or worrying about not getting enough? So try find ways to relax, clear your mind. Yeah. Don't keep looking to see what time it is. Yep. So basically, if you wake up in the middle of the night and you check your phone, it's probably a bad thing to do. Like, don't check your phone as you wake up in the middle of the night to see, oh, what's the time? Have I got enough sleep? Like, if you're already worried about that, then it's not going to be good. Progressive muscle relaxation can also be helpful. This can be done gently tensing and relaxing the main muscle group in the body every 10 seconds, focusing on your attention on the relaxing feelings you spread through your body. There is many free recorders available. So yeah, some kind of like breathing. I think it's called, I don't know if it's box breathing, but it's 4 seconds in. So big inhale. So 4 seconds in, 4 seconds hold, 4 seconds out, 4 seconds wait, and then breathe back in again. That helps me loads. If I'm struggling to fall asleep, it's kind of like a mini meditation, and you focus on your breathing, and then your brain's not thinking about the other things, and it just calms you right down. Needing to go to the toilet several times in the night could be a medical region, depends on what it is. Bladder training could be useful. Restricting caffeine intake and fluid intake late at night. Yep. Any pain, obviously, just like trying to sort the pain. It's very common for disturbed sleep, follow the bereavement, follow your difficulties by worrying about not sleeping. So yeah, you're always going to feel that. Anxiety, depression, and stress. Where are you suffering from stress at the moment? Are you depressed or anxious? If so, then sleeping is a problem, is probably affected. And it may be as soon as your head hits the pillow that your mind starts thinking overtime. So the following might help. If your mind starts to race, to use the relaxation techniques described earlier, such as muscle relaxation, or by focusing on a relaxing image or your breathing, by making your breath deeper and slower, yeah, it can decrease your heart rate. Yeah, cool. Which can in return reduces cortisol, one of the hormones released when we're anxious. Yeah, so like you could probably see you can't see it, but my legs shaking like crazy. Does it all the time. If I'm anxious, I need to calm down. You have like your parasympathetic state and your sympathetic state. So your parasympathetic nervous system is your rest and digest. Your sympathetic nervous system is your fight or flight. If you're anxious, you're probably in your sympathetic. So we need something to bring us into our parasympathetic, which is that rest and digest state, and breathing can help that. Jotting down a few things, so I've said that earlier, can help. And maybe also set aside 30 minutes a day worry time. So this is basically set aside time for journaling. So set some time aside to basically just write down what you're worrying about. I think this is really helpful. Like, you could use the same thread on ChatGPT to keep notes. You could put it in your phone. You could have a physical journal to sit and write. And like, things like that do genuinely help. I think like identifying problems and then finding what solutions are possible for each of those problems is really important. It says it there, but it's how my brain works, which is like what I said earlier when we were in the Hormozy section of this stream, which was, what are the big problems that I'm dealing with or ignoring that if I actually focused on and solved would fix or help how I am feeling currently, and then doing the solutions to fix those. Even if you've got hard conversations or things to have, I think it's really important. Wherever you find yourself worrying, remind yourself to save it till your next worry time. Like, kind of works, kind of doesn't. Like, sometimes it's just there. Sometimes you just need to get it out. But maybe if you set your journaling time close to your bedtime, you can get it all out before you go to sleep. Restless leg syndrome, we're going to kind of skip over that. And then we're going to have a look at athletic performance, so from sleep. So why is sleep important for athletes? For both athletes and non-athletes, sleep is essential for overall health and well-being. Everyone needs sleep in order to feel restored. This is from the sleepfoundation.org, so probably another good place to get our information from. For both athletes and non-athletes, sleep is essential for your overall health and well-being. Everyone needs sleep in order to feel restored. Can you guys see this enough? Should I zoom in? There we go. This can help your body to recover after physical exertion. So allowing your heart to rest, and cells and tissues to repair. So that's what sleep helps. This can help your body to recover after physical exertion. Also allowing you to progress through the stages of sleep. The changes in your heart rate and breathing throughout the night promote cardiovascular health. It helps you recover from an illness. How sleep helps athletes' mental state. So sleep helps everyone retain and consolidate memories. When athletes learn or practice new skills, sleep helps them form memories and contributes to improved performance in the future. Without sleep, the pathways in the brain that allow you to learn and make memories can't be formed or maintained. So, if you are trying to achieve a goal and you aren't motivated to do it, what you need to do is kind of what we're doing here, which is list out all of the reasons why getting or doing a certain task will benefit your life. So me writing down, get 7 hours sleep. Why? Well, if I want to be a better athlete, it's going to help. If I want to be better at work, it's going to help. And you write all of these things down. If I want to be better in my emotional state, it then highlights to you how important it is because of how much it's going to like positively affect your life. So like, do that, please. Sleep is also essential for cognitive processing. So loss of sleep is associated with a decline in cognitive function. This can have adverse effects on athletes whose sport requires high level of cognitive function, such as decision making and adaptive to new solutions. Also, just as exercise can help improve your mental health, sleep is also important for maintaining an athlete's mental health. Quality sleep is associated with improved overall mood. Yep. So how does sleep affect athletic performance? Both an increased quantity and quality of sleep helps athletes improve in many areas related to the demands of the sport. A Stanford study of men's basketball players who extended their sleep to 10 hours a night found several positive outcomes. There was some mad stat that like the guy who won the Tour de France like 5 years ago, the one thing that he had different was he had an extra hour of sleep compared to everyone else. Madness. Their shooting improved by at least 9% for both free throws and 3 points. The athletes also reported improved physical and mental well-being. Male and female swimmers who extended their sleep by up to 10 hours also saw many performances improved. Reaction times of diving blocks were faster, turn times were improved, and kick strokes increased. Times swimming a 15-meter sprint also improved. So, additionally, these athletes experienced improved mood and decreased daytime sleepiness and fatigue. So, this is great. Varsity tennis players, male and female, who increased their sleep to at least 9 hours a week, 9 hours a night. I want to know how much partying these varsity tennis players were doing if they're only sleeping 9 hours a week. I'm going to assume that means 9 hours a day. The accuracy of these players serves increased significantly from about 36 to nearly 42%. Other studies of female netball players and male soccer players have been demonstrated that sleep hygiene education helps athletes to increase their overall sleep time. So just get educated. So, inhibited ability, a study of male sports athletes who were sleep deprived, so lack of sleep effects on athletes' performance, decreased accuracy, quicker exhaustion, so they get tired quicker, decreased reaction time, slower, difficulty learning and making decisions, can't pick up skills as easily, risk for injury goes up, risk for illness goes up. So illness is actually an interesting one, which is like if you're overtraining, and overtraining to some degree means you're doing too much training than your recovery allows, is can cause illness. So if you are someone who is training, overtraining, and training the same thing over and over again, that repeated like fatigue that you are creating will create illness within your body. Means you'll get sicker quicker because your immune system will probably be down. Sleep different for athletes. Probably not. Sleep hygiene for athletes. So, creating an appropriate sleep environment. So, your space is dark and should be cool with little to no noise. So, this is something I didn't mention earlier, which is blackout blinds are an absolute game changer. Where I live, there's no real street lamps. So, like, blackout blinds for me have been an absolute just gem and lifesaver. Avoid alcohol and caffeine before bedtime. We spoke about stay away from electronics. So we spoke about have a wind down routine. We've spoken about get out of bed if you can't fall asleep after 20 minutes of trying. So go and just move around. I always like basically if I can't get to sleep or my brain's active, I just like turn my light on a little bit and start reading, and then I can kind of get to sleep. Avoid overthinking. So keep a constant training schedule. So that's about training. But avoid, sorry, I thought we said overthinking. You can tell where my brain is. Avoid overtraining. Keep a consistent training schedule so as to not overexert yourself. Avoid training and competitions too early or too late. So these can affect training and sleep quality. I'm kind of worried. I'm doing a Thursday night session. I'm worried that that's going to affect my sleep because it starts at 6:30, probably won't end till 8, and I'm worried that that's going to affect my sleep, but we'll see. And reduce stressors. Not only do mental stressors affect sleep quality, but they also impact performance overall. Jet lag and athletes, probably don't need to go into that. But yeah, so basically, it can affect everything. Staying hydrated is also going to be really important, and reducing like caffeine and alcohol intake is going to be really, really important. Not eating too close to bed can sometimes also really help if you struggle with sleep, and also being aware that having enough food is also going to be a good thing. So you don't want to be starving as you go to sleep. But yeah, that is basically everything that we know about sleep, or at least these 3 articles and my own silly knowledge. But hopefully that's helped you to understand, like, maybe create a little sleep routine of yourself. So if you're thinking or you're struggling with sleep, kind of identify, if you looked at those things, is your room dark and cold? Are you away from screens and electronics? And if you're not, do you have blue light blocking glasses? Do you get up in the night to use the toilet? That could be because you're drinking too much water throughout the night because you've got a dry mouth, which means that you could be breathing through your mouth, which means that you could use a nose strip to help you breathe a little bit better. You could be stressed, so do you have time within your day to journal and to jot things down? Do you have times to wind down by either meditating or by reading? Um, are you napping throughout the day? Because you may want to try to avoid napping, because even though you're trying to catch up on sleep, if you nap, that may affect your sleep later in the day. Or if you do nap, limit it to 20 minutes. Are you drinking alcohol, because that can affect your sleep? And have you got high caffeine intake? Are you drinking caffeine too late at night, which could be keeping you up? These things are going to be probably the most important things. So have a check of those, and kind of hopefully that will help you when it comes to your sleep. Thank you so much for watching that video. That clip that you just watched is from one of our live streams. So every Sunday evening, we live stream, and we're trying to create a community of people to come and help each other, improve their mental health, learn a little bit about training. I struggled with my confidence for the longest time, and in this journey of going from a PT to creating a wellbeing company, we wanted to give you a space to come and feel safe enough to talk about what you're going through. So come and join us every Sunday. My name's Charlie. This is Hack the Body, Hack the Mind. We'll see you on the next one.